Yo, hey guys, welcome to another video. So at this point, you more or less should have a Shopify store. If you've been following along with all the videos, you should have a Shopify store set up. Using the link down below, you should be getting sales every single day. And now starting to run into some refunds and some chargebacks and some fraudulent transactions. So we're going to get into all of that in this video. So I first want to just talk a little bit about customer service, because a very, very big part of e-commerce, and I feel like we haven't spoken about it, is customer service. Because a lot of the time before someone will order, because it's a brand that they've never heard of, they may send an email or whatever form of customer service you're using just to ask some questions and some stuff like that. The other thing is, when you're dealing with this, you have to understand that a lot of people presume that you will be equivalent to Amazon. Okay, because Amazon is the standard of e-commerce, but they're the gold standard. Okay, so Amazon is the best, actually. They're not the standard, they are the best. Amazon delivers a package in the United States within, I think, 6 hours from ordering, and with Prime, which is the majority of the United States, within 24 hours. Now, there's certain reasons why Amazon can do that, and there's certain ways that they actually lose money to be able to do that, which is obviously not our case. But the main reason is we are taking items from other people, which, we physically don't pack the boxes and stuff, so we have no control over that. Additionally, we're shipping to multiple countries and everything is coming out of a factory in China. So with drop shipping, you are not going to achieve times like that. You'll be generally averaging between 12 to 14 days within the US and 12 to 20 days in other e-packet countries. And then after e-packet countries, you start just getting ridiculous high time zones. So that's why when you are running ads, I'd recommend just targeting your e-packet countries, and you could just Google it. It's just a small side tip to limit your problems. But a big thing that you're gonna find when doing this is a lot of people are gonna wait like 2, 3, 4 days, and that at that point it's barely even left China or India, wherever you're shipping from, and then the customer's gonna say, "Where's my package? This must be a scam, or I must have kind of given my information and payment info to a fraudulent company." So customers always do one or two things. Either they phone their credit card company or their bank and they get them to cancel the transaction. Now, the nice thing is, majority of people don't know that they can actually do this. Banks don't publicize it that much because it actually costs them money to do the transaction, which is good for us. Because then just everyone would be doing it. But the people that do know that they can do this, literally just phone their bank and say, "Look, the package is not getting to me and it's fraudulent, can you stop the transaction?" And banks will initiate what's called a chargeback. So a chargeback happens on the bank side, where they work with the merchant, which in this case would be whoever your payment processor was. So Stripe, to checkout, Shopify Payments, PayPal, whoever you're using. And they will communicate with Stripe that this payment needs to be blocked. Okay, so the customer gets their money back. Then your payment processor is going to contact you. Now, I use Stripe the majority of my stores, so that's the one that I'm going to just refer to the most. They literally just send you a message and say, "Hey, this transaction has been issued as a chargeback by the customer's bank. In order for you to respond in this case, you need to provide a certain amount of information." And Stripe will ask for stuff like, what is the product? When did you dispatch it? Can you send a proof of receipt and a proof that the customer actually did want to buy this? Because you must remember, chargebacks are not just built for e-commerce, they're built in the general sense, and there is a lot of fraud going on. So the first thing that banks are going to try to establish is, did the person actually order the product? Okay, and the way to do that is you send them a screenshot of the conversion info within Shopify, and that's that. Then they're going to want to know tracking number, who is the carrier, and links to tracking pages, etc., so that they can see that the item is actually on the way to the customer. Now, with this, once you've sent it off to Stripe, Stripe sends it to the bank, and the bank ultimately makes a decision. Okay, now the bank will look at it, and for me, it's very, very hard to predict what their decisions are. I find it's very, very random. Sometimes they agree with you, and they give the money back to you. Other times, for not much reason, they disagree with the customer And then you not only lose the money that you were paid, but they also charge you a transaction fee of about $15, £15. So it can become expensive. But like I said, the majority of people don't know that they can do that, so we kind of get away with that. Okay, so that has to do with chargebacks that you may just get notifications for. The other thing is going to be refunds. Now, what will happen here is a lot of people will send emails saying, I want a refund for my order not getting here. That's the first thing. I would recommend that you use 17 Track. It's a free website that allows them to track their orders at all times. It works with all the major shipping carriers, especially in China. And what I would do, which is generally the best way, is literally just take the tracking code, enter it on 17 Track so that it pulls up a tracking page, and just send back an email to the customer and just say, look, sorry, due to high demand. That's what we always say when we're actually just lying, to be fair. Just say due to high demand, because there's a lot of orders going through at the moment, there is a bit of a delay. Here is a direct link to your tracking page. At that point, the customer can then see, okay, my order has been moving along and stuff like that. All right. If they keep pressing for it, the main thing here is just accept the refund. Because what you do not want to happen is have your payment processor leave you in the cold, which is what we'll talk about just now. But the other thing is very often, well, not very often, it happens probably 1 out of 10 times, the orders that do get to the customers will be very damaged or just poor quality or the wrong items and stuff. And it seems to be also very random in terms of what happens in China with the factories. Sometimes they just like for clothing, sometimes the clothing gets there like drenched in I don't know, liquid, and it just smells. It's very, very random. But anyway, the customer's going to complain. Just issue them a refund, because it's not possible for them to ship the item back to the factory and then the factory to send a new one. Technically, you could do it that way, but it's just so much messing around and it costs a lot in shipping. It's much more cost effective just to accept the refund and lose the money. Okay, because on a product you're only going to be losing like $10, $15 anyway, so it doesn't really make much sense for you. And the reason why you want to be issuing these refunds on request is because if you don't issue refunds, what's going to happen is the customer's going to open a case of fraud with the bank, and then that's going to come back to your payment processor. Now, payment processors also, they don't publicize how they work this out, but essentially, especially PayPal, you guys will have heard of issues with PayPal with dropshipping all over the place. If you are getting a lot of chargebacks, so you're not accepting a lot of returns, and you're just causing a lot of problems for banks and stuff because customers want their money and it's a bit of a mess around, what happens is payment processors, which is PayPal, Stripe, 2Checkout, all of them are going to do one or two things. They're either going to ask for a reserve. Okay, this means that it's generally about 20 to 25%, sometimes less depending on what numbers you're doing, has to stay in that account. So PayPal, generally you can just drain all the money, so bring the balance to zero and put it in your actual bank account. If they give you a 20% reserve, that means that all money coming into that account, 20% of it is not allowed to leave that account at all. That's there. It's there to protect them in case you get chargebacks, so that's the logic behind it. But it causes a very, very serious issue because essentially it means you're losing 20% of your profit, which if you don't have very, very high margins, which is often the case if you're just getting started in dropshipping, it could be the difference between being profitable and losing money. So much rather lose the $10 or the $5 or whatever just on 1 or 2 transactions than lose 20% every single time. Okay, and then the worst thing that can happen with payment processors is they can just send you an email and say, due to our policy and stuff, we will no longer be working with you, and they literally just turn you off. Okay, so they don't process transactions with you anymore. And this is a very, very big problem because if you can't accept payments, you can't continue your business, especially if the big ones drop you. So if Stripe, PayPal, and 2Checkout drop you, the main thing also is these companies have done a very, very good job of monopolizing themselves, which is why they can literally just do almost what they want in terms of just kick people off their network. There is no alternative to PayPal. People only use PayPal. There is some other stuff, but it just no one has it. It's the same thing with Stripe. Stripe is the best in credit card processing. It's the easiest to use. If you use some of the others, it takes them out of the checkout page on Shopify to another page, which looks very, very scammy and stuff, and then people have to enter in the information, and it just hammers your conversion rate. So a lot of people are going to think this is a scam or it's fake and not going to buy because of that. So my general opinion, I know I explain a lot of stuff here, but as soon as you get fraudulent transactions, disputes, which is chargebacks, or just refunds, just agree with whatever the customer is complaining about and just refund the money to solve the issues. In the short term, you may lose a bit of money, but long term and over time, it's actually going to be very, very beneficial to you. And I've had quite a few PayPal accounts get turned off for whatever reason, and it is a literal mission because PayPal and Stripe actually just don't care. They're literally just like, your account's locked for 180 days, which is half a year. The money stays with us, we'll give it back to you then. Sorry for you. And literally there is nothing you can do. You can't phone them, you can't email them, that's it. And they've got such strong legal terms and stuff behind them that they actually can do it legally. So you really have no ground to stand on. So I just recommend that you go ahead and do that. It's the same thing. What will happen every now and again is Shopify or Stripe or whoever you're using will flag something as fraudulent, which means that you can either accept the payment or deny the payment from going through. Just deny it. I'm not entirely sure what algorithms they use to pick it up, but essentially it has to do if the card's being used and it's been reported stolen, or if it's a transaction which, I'm trying to explain this the best, if it's a transaction that the customer does not normally do. So for example, if there's like a 70-year-old guy who doesn't generally buy makeup online, and now he's buying like a teenager makeup kit, it will flag it as fraudulent because it doesn't fit the demographic, something like that. It's also just much simpler if you just reject the payment than if you go through all those issues. So yeah, really quick video, just wanted to touch on that. It is an important issue, especially because it can really hamper any success that you do get as soon as you get through the Facebook ads and stuff. In terms of PayPal and Stripe, if you are under the age of 18, there's actually a very different process that you have to take with all of them, because it's against their policy to do it under 18, and they cause a whole lot of problems that way. So I did make a video, it was one of the first ones since I changed to e-com, about dealing with banks, taxes, Shopify, Stripe, PayPal, and some other things under 18. So just go ahead, go find it on my channel somewhere, just search it, and then just rather implement the stuff that I said there as opposed to what I've just said. If you are under 18, it would just make things a lot easier for you and make a bit more sense. So I hope that helped. I hope that you actually listen to it and apply it, because it's very difficult when money's coming in to reject certain amounts of money. It makes you feel like you're losing less, but it's one of those things that are just part of the business. So yeah, that's all for this video. Please let me know. A lot of people have been sending me Instagram DMs asking questions and stuff, which is fine, but please let me know if you would like me to do a video about something. So if you're stuck in a particular field, I'd love to do an actual video on YouTube so that other people who may have similar problems can benefit from it. So just send it through to me, and I'll try and make a video about it. It'll probably just be a bit easier for both of us anyway, because you'll learn more. So Instagram is at my name, just Courtne Marland, and hopefully we'll get some videos rolling out that can help everyone then. Otherwise, yesterday, the best video on my channel at the moment is the Facebook ads full strategy that I use to scale products every single time. So if you haven't watched it, go ahead and do it right now. Click that subscribe while you're at it, and I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.